What's up, Shady Sports Network? I'm back here with a very special interview with someone I consider a friend of mine, Mr. Ben Rice. Ben, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Chris. What's up?
Really excited. So, right off the bat, it's been so long. I think the last time I saw you was, I want to say 3 years ago, 2020. So, how is your life I've watched you progress over all these years. What have you been up to since then in terms of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that last time we saw each other was during summer ball with the Worcester Bravehearts a few years back. But since then, obviously, I was fortunate enough to get drafted in 2021 by the Yankees, and really ever since then, just been kind of making my way up the minors. So here I am today, up in Double A of Somerset.
Going up to the minors, man, that's a whole process in itself. It's honestly, that's what makes baseball the hardest sport, is that you have to grind through those levels. So kind of going back to your earlier days in the minor league system, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a grind, like you said, and that's what makes baseball so different from other sports, right? We're the only one where there's a really extended period of time where you're in the minor leagues kind of trying to make your way up to the show. The beginning was, I mean, there was an adjustment period, I think. Like first out, you'd come from playing college, just summer ball. And I think you had to adjust a little bit to the competition right away. It's a little tougher. Pitching's a little better. Hitters are better. So you just got to try and find ways to stick out. I think that first taste of pro ball I had was a good reality check for me. I knew I had to work on some things and get better. And then last year was my first full season, and I think I made some good strides and tried to carry that momentum into this year. So, I mean, but like you said, it's definitely a grind. So you gotta really trust the process and hope you can just keep improving as you go up.
That's really great to hear. So this last week, you've had a career week. You won Eastern Player of the Week, hitting 7 for 23, which is crazy. What has worked so well for you this past week?
Yeah, I think just sticking with my approach, I talked a little bit with my hitting coach about some things that we could clean up. With me, it's always about timing. So I feel like I was just on time this week, on time with the fastball. Felt like I was on time with the off speed, was able to adjust, had a good plan, each at bat, knew what pitches I was looking for, kind of understood how the team was going to attack me. And from there on out, just kind of let everything take care of itself. But like you said, yeah, it was a good week.
For sure. One of your teammates is a top prospect, Jason Dominguez. They call him the Alien. What is your working relationship with him like?
Oh, I mean, well, Jason's awesome. Like you said, I mean, he's so famous at this point. I met him right after I got drafted because I was on the same team as him. We were on the same low A team together. So I met him pretty early on, but just knowing him, you'd never know how big he was or how famous he was just if you were just talking to him. He's a very humble guy, really mature, goes about his business, works hard, does all the little things well. So he's a real pleasure to be around, really awesome teammate, and I'm pumped to be up with him in Double A.
So Double A is kind of a whole different beast. A lot of people think Double A is kind of right on par with the major leagues. You see a lot of players who go to Double A and go straight to the majors. Do you believe that we'll ever get to the point where we can kind of eliminate that in-between level of Triple A?
I would hope not, honestly. I think it varies by organization. Whoops, someone's calling me. It varies by organization a little bit. There's certain orgs where you can fly straight up from Double A to the bigs. You even see some orgs where you just skip Double A and completely. With our organization, we have so much depth that it'd be pretty hard for someone to go straight from Double A to the big leagues. But I mean, hey, maybe one day they phase out more levels. But honestly, I think the best part about baseball is that there are so many levels. I think it gives just guys more chances to develop because maybe right away you're not big league ready or aren't doing that well in pro ball, but then you have the chance to kind of work your way up the ladder and kind of develop in the farm system. So I hope it just stays how it is, honestly, but I could see it changing in the future.
So you went to a very, very, very tough college. It's one of the best colleges in the country. Some people think it is the number one college in the country, Dartmouth University. So, being an Ivy League student, you're very well spoken. You're a very smart guy. I remember you from back in your days in Worcester. You were always on the little details, which is really, it made you a stronger baseball player. How much of your work in the classroom at such a high level institution kind of translates to on the field?
Yeah, I guess it might not necessarily translate to performance necessarily, but I think like the mental game can help a little bit. I think going to Dartmouth really helped with little things like time management, working baseball around school. It helped make me a lot better in that kind of way. So I think just like my preparation off the field improved in that regard, and then also maybe a little bit about thinking the game as a catcher. That's really important. It helped a lot in a lot of aspects.
For sure. So one thing it was at the tail end of your college career, the NCAA announced the NIL. All the things with NIL kind of started, the collectives, everything. So what do you think about NIL, and how do you think it's affecting college athletes?
Oh, I think it's great. It's especially with sports like football or basketball that gets so much attention, so much national attention. And you have these, big time athletes that are, destined for the NBA, NFL, that really for like the last few decades or so I don't want to say we're getting exploited, but weren't able to really like benefit financially from all the success and things they were doing for their school. So I think it's a great opportunity for college athletes to, kind of benefit from all the things they do on the field and off the field. I can't say that I would have ever really benefited from it.
Oh, we had some brief internet issues there. We'll hit commercial, be back.
This is Brett, and you're watching Shady Sports Network. Tune in, hit that like button.
You might wonder, what do these guys do? Player signing announcements. I never in a million years thought you would actually come on to break this news. So without further ado, go ahead and tell everybody what happened today.
Yeah, man. I just had a workout with the Cincinnati Bengals. Signing me right out.
Without further ado, I'd like to announce that, I'll be taking my talents to Salina Liberty.
This just in. The Major League of Football is reportedly collapsing, unable to pay hotel room bills, with players being kicked out of their rooms and hotel managers asking them to leave voluntarily without issue.
And then we got Lions wide receiver Williams is debuting this week as a starter. That's something to look at as far as the eye test goes. And then another one on the eye test is Mostert might be coming back to Miami. And we can see if he has a role in this offense and see if he can be viable for the next couple weeks coming and help us in the playoffs and possibly towards a championship. That would be very nice because he's sitting on my bench right now.
Get in the game at BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. Over 50 sports, live betting, online casino, horse racing, esports, and more. Start now.
This is Brett, and you're watching Shady Sports Network. Tune in, hit that like button.
You might wonder, what do these guys do? Player signing announcements. I never in a million years thought you would actually come on to break.
So we are back here. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up? It's not working on my laptop for some reason. I don't know what's happening.
That's weird. It must have just went out with the internet. So, kind of going on my next question here. We were talking about you going to Dartmouth and how like it translates into the, you playing baseball. So kind of that mindset that you have to have, going to a high level institution with the assignments, everything, right? And you kind of have to be step by step. knowing that you can get called up at any time, how do you handle that?
I think in a lot of ways, in our organization at least, we usually would have a somewhat of an idea if we had a chance of getting called up, which helps take out the surprise factor in a way, which I kind of like. They do a really good job of communicating with us. But I mean, like you said, I think there's a lot of ways that having gone to Dartmouth and gone to such a good school, can translate to the pro ball setting, just with the things I said, like time management, making sure I get all my work in away from the field, thinking the game a little differently maybe while I'm catching, how I approach hitters while I'm catching, calling the game, how I approach pitchers. So I think there's a lot of ways that I can kind of work that in.
So minor league baseball has kind of evolved so much over the last couple of years, in terms of there was a Twitter account called Minor League Baseball Advocates, and they were advocating for things such as housing, meals, different things. And I've noticed personally, like I've seen it really grow and improve. You've been in the minor leagues for 2 years now. What have you seen the growth of the way they player treatment?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's night and day from when I first showed up. There have been a lot of really big improvements. The thing that jumps out right away is the housing situation. When I first showed up, it was, I couldn't really complain of where I was at. We were just in like a hotel. But there were certain like standards that they didn't have that they do now. So like now, like you have to have like your own bathroom or your own room, basically. There has to be a full kitchen. There has to be this and that. So the housing has really improved. We also used to have to pay portions of our paycheck towards our housing, and now our teams fully pay for our housing, which is a big step up. Because obviously we don't get paid much as it is. So there's things I'm forgetting, but I mean, we got our pay increased a lot this year, which I've noticed a big difference in. So there have been a lot of improvements. Very fortunate that minor league baseball has finally kind of gotten the ball rolling for us minor leaguers, because they've been grinding for a long time, and now it's finally starting to get a lot better.
For sure, you guys deserve it. Minor league baseball has really slept on, and you guys are kind of the future of the sport as is. So during the offseason, you mentioned about the pay. Do you have to work another job to be able to provide for the year?
Fortunately, I don't. No, I do not. I know in years past, I had some teammates who did do some things. They did like, remote coaching, or a couple guys I remember were working at like department stores when they were just pitching at like our complex or whatever during spring training. But now I'd say our salary is so much improved that you don't really need a second job. That being said, some guys might want one if they want another source of income. But these days, it's so much better that it's not totally necessary to have another job.
That's incredible. That's really incredible to hear that you're able to focus on baseball full time and you're able to be a pro athlete. Pro means to be able to do it full time.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
The offseason is kind of in the background. I know we're only a couple months away from it. What are your offseason plans?
So it'll be a little different this year than the last two off seasons, because the last two off seasons I was actually going back to school and finishing my degree. So I finally finished that last fall. I like graduated. I didn't get to do like the whole ceremony and stuff, but I finished all my courses and all that stuff. So I got my degree. This off season, I won't be going back to school. I'll probably just be living at home in Massachusetts, as far as I know, unless something changes. So I'll be going back, just taking batting practice with my dad, doing whatever, lifting a lot, focusing on what I can do to improve upon this year, and then just kind of carry that momentum into the following season. Definitely.
So with the travel, you played with the Worcester Bravehearts for 2 years. 3 years actually, right? Two summers. So you played with them for 2 years. The travel in the league is kind of interesting with the way they do things. How would you compare the travel in summer ball to travel now?
It's different, well, the biggest difference with the minors is the format of our series. We do 6-game series. So like each week you're like at a certain place for the whole week, right? So this past week we had a home series. So we were here, from Monday all the way until this Monday. But this upcoming week we're going to Reading, Pennsylvania, which is fortunately not that far away from us. 2 weeks ago, we had to go to Akron, Ohio, and we were out there for a whole week. So there's the better part is that it's not as frequent of travel, like it's not a different place every day that you're going to. But there might be some farther trips. But honestly, since you're only having like a bus ride a couple times every 2 weeks, it's really not that bad. So you can deal with it.
For sure. So, Ben, I really want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. My final question for you is, you're someone that, has progressed, you chased your dreams, you went after, and you made it possible. So you're not someone that posts a lot on social media, you kind of grind in silence. How important do you think it is to kind of not stay off social media per se, but to be locked in on your goals?
Yeah, I mean, with the social media thing, I think that's just kind of my personality. I'm not one to really, publish a lot of stuff out and put a lot of stuff out there. I don't really have any issue with people who do. I think it's a really good tool for people to use. Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think it's really important for guys to kind of have that tunnel vision and just kind of focus on their goal. And if there's any kind of way that they can shut out distractions, whether it be social media, whether it be going out all the time or whatever, there's always ways that you can kind of narrow your focus and just kind of sharpen what you're looking at and what you're looking forward to. And if that's, playing pro baseball, then that's what it is. If it's going to get your dream job and whatever realm you're looking to do, that's the best way to do it.
100%. So I want to thank you again for coming on the show. It's been great to be able to catch up with you after all these years. I hope to see you here soon playing the Woo Sox down there at Polar Park. That would be
Hell
awesome.
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah.
Definitely. But, stay in touch, man, whatever you need, and keep grinding.
Sweet. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.